In the headlines, group or individual risk 1 million naira fine or 6 months jail term for discrimination against persons with disability. Concerns over emission as climate change issues remain on the front burner. Kanu, longest reigning kingmaker, dies at the age of 95. And on the foreign scene, Germany to impose lockdown on unvaccinated considers general vaccine mandate. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. The news in detail. Since 1992, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities is being celebrated on 3rd December of every year. The day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. In Nigeria, discrimination against persons with disability attracts 1 million naira fine for group, and for individuals it attracts 1 million naira fine or 6 months jail term. In this report, Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail narrates the story of a young Nigerian who aspires to be a professional journalist despite his blindness. The report.
This is Babangida Abubakar, a 20-year-old visionary blind student of Gombe Special Education Center who defied many challenges associated with people living with disabilities. Born in Akoloku government area of Gombe State, Babangida got blind when he was a year old. It took his parents years of struggle finding a cure to no avail.
Mun yi iyakacin kokari da neman magunguna. Dai Allah bai sa aka dace ba. Saboda mun bi na bangaren abun nan daga general mun je mun bi har abun ya kai ga medical center. Mun je can ma Allah dai bai sa aka yi nasara ba. Daga nan dai sai muka hakura ka barwa Allah.
The talented young man was enrolled into Special Education Center Gombe for Western and Islamic knowledge.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا وسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا.
Despite his condition, Babangida has developed passion for journalism. To achieve his dream, Babangida engaged in rigorous self-practice of writing Hausa poems and news bulletin rehearsals.
Ƙungiyar ƙwallon ƙafa ta Barcelona ta sayi Memphis Depay da kuma Sergio Aguero da Harry Garcia ɗan Manchester City. Kuma ina sha'awar yin wa'innan labaru in zamanto mai labaru ni ma ina faɗakar da al'umma kan ɓangarori daban-daban.
The principal of Gombe Special Education Center admires Babangida's talent and called for people's support.
He's a very intelligent, creative, and a very focused student who has a great passion of journalism. So if his potential is properly harnessed in a very appropriate manner, he will surely be a very productive and intelligent and dedicated journalist. I call upon individuals and his parents to see how they would help him achieve his goals and realize his ambition.
For Babangida Abubakar and other talented people living with disability, there is always ability in disability. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, the theme for the 2021 International Day of Persons with Disabilities is leadership and participation of persons with disabilities toward an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. In line with this, Trust TV's Aisha Salihu speaks to some Nigerians about the living conditions of persons living with disability.
The International Day of Persons with Disabilities, marked on December 3rd, has two primary goals: to promote the full and equal participation of persons with disabilities and to ensure the inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of society and development. According to the World Health Organization's 2020 World Disability Report, over 1 billion people live with some form of disability. Many of them face a number of human rights abuses, including stigma, discrimination, violence, and lack of access to healthcare, housing, and education. In Nigeria, there are 31 million people living with disabilities as disclosed by the National Commission for Persons with Disability. Musa Ahmadu speaks about the challenges he faces as a person living with disability.
My whole life, as I am physically challenged person now, so no matter of two, I'm in hard condition. So as I'm telling you right now, the place that I'm staying in Karmajiji. There is one place we physically challenged people that we are staying. But the life is hard. Sometimes, even to pay children's school, sometimes they will pursue my children from school to the home if I didn't pay the school fees. So in this business, as I am telling you before, everything is moving forward. But right now, at least now, sometimes when I came here, from morning to now, I'm not selling any single phone. Before I'm selling only phones. That is the reason I joined charger, earpiece, memory card. Even though I not sell this one, sometimes I can sell this one. So I will get water, I will eat, and to go and feed my family.
Meanwhile, some Nigerians also expressed their thoughts on the living conditions of persons living with disabilities in the country.
It's so sympathetic, because why I say that is that Nigeria doesn't even care for Nigeria don't even look whether they exist or they are not exist. But if it is a country that knows their citizens and know that these people they can't do anything, they would have to place them monthly payment.
The government should just do something about them by empowering them, opening maybe a foundation where they can be helped, you know. So because the rate of disabled people in Nigeria today is too high.
They should be carried along because most of them are educated too. So we can see they are even the one that boasts our Olympic and when we went for our athletics for football for our athletics last time. So they are the one even got gold medals in Nigeria. So to be carried along in anything we are doing.
In January 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act. This act states that public organizations shall, as much as possible, constitute at least 5% of their staff population. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Environment, Mrs. Sharon Ikezo, says the federal government is committed to implement climate change actions, combat the issues of climate change, and adapt to the immense consequences of climate change, drastically reducing global gas emissions and also position Nigeria towards the green pathway. The minister, represented by Director, Department of Climate Change, Dr. Iniobong Awe, said this during the inception workshop and official launch of the National Adaptation Plan process organized by the Ministry of Environment to mark the takeoff of the National Adaptation process in Nigeria.
As you all know, climate change is now a very important issue in world discourse today, as leaders are looking for solutions to its impact, which is all around us and threatening to extinct mankind. It is worth noting that the rainfall patterns have become more irregular over the years. We observe the melting of the glacial ice in the North Pole and other extreme weather conditions. In a bid to address these challenges, countries worldwide adopted the UNFCCC framework in 1994. Nigeria, as a party to this convention, same year went ahead to ratify the Kyoto Protocol. You also recall that the inception of this administration in 2015, climate change was one of the major goals slated clearly by Mr. President in its NDC with a commitment to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by 20% unconditionally and by additional 47% with international support. It is expected that Nigeria's NAP framework and other adaptation initiatives would help the vulnerable groups adapt to the impact of climate change with minimal losses on livelihood, ecosystem, and biodiversity.
Now, Justice Binta Nyako of a Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday rescheduled the trial of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Namdi Kanu, from January 19th to January 18th, 2022. The shift in the trial date followed the abridgment of time granted by the judge following a passionate plea to that effect. The last adjourned date for the trial is January 18th. Trust TV's Mardia Umar has the report.
The leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Namdi Kanu, was absent in court during the continuation of his trial at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Cancelled Namdi Kanu had approached the court with an application seeking an order of the court to accommodate the trial in November and December this year, as against the earlier January 19, 2022 date. Justice Nyako, however, informed Kanu's lawyer that the application for time abridgment cannot be granted because there was no judicial time for such an issue. Following the insistence, Justice Nyako agreed to shift all the cases slated for January 18 to accommodate the trial, which would last till January 19 and 20.
Days past, we have had cause to come before this court to file contempt proceedings against the DGSSS following their flagrant disobedience to court orders. And those applications haven't been had. And we also have incorporated the facts of the manner in which they are flouting these court orders and itemized the orders of the court who they flouted. So those applications are still before the court will inform the court. The court may run out to say, if in the event they proceed to flout any of these orders, the court handed down today, that we should come back to court. And we believe that they will obey court orders made today. We believe strongly, most strongly. So we are coming back on January 18th for the hearing of the application challenging the decision of the court on 18th of January.
We walked away with something, but that's not really what we wanted. We wanted to move that application, challenging the jurisdiction of the court. That is key to our defense strategy. But that we were not able to move that application today is not pleasing to us. But we can understand the procedural constraints within which the court had to operate today. We went through all that, and it was something quite a little bit out of ordinary. But at least we went home. We're going home with something. Improvement in our client's detention conditions is something that has been critical in our own reckoning, and we got that improvement as court order today.
These things amounts to disrespect to the Constitution. This is infuriating. This is inciting. This is unfair. And that's why I feel so bad seeing how these things are going on. And I'm saying that, like I said before, it's supposed to be a prosecution. It's not a persecution. And this perception keeps sending message out there that most of these actions are propelled by hate. So if a man cannot be tried transparently with access to all facilities that is required for him to prove his case, then this can turn to become a kangaroo arrangement. Why not just, like I always say, why not send him to Daura and then convict him?
Justice Nyako ordered the Department of State Services to allow Kanu to practice his faith, change his clothes, and be given the maximum possible comfort in the detention facility.
As you can see, the ambience around the Federal High Court in Abuja is rather a rowdy one because the cancelled Namdi Kanu and some supporters of Namdi Kanu are not really happy about what happened in the courtroom today. They said they sent several applications for consideration, but it was not really looked into.
Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now let's take a look at some more stories on Disability Day. Over 15% of people worldwide are said to be experiencing disabilities. Trust TV's Abdullahi Isma tells us how this International Day for People with Disabilities was celebrated in Katsina State. Take a look.
Katsina State, which accounts for over 800,000 persons living with disability, mostly in urban and rural areas, decries lack of awareness, stigmatization and unhealthy practices are some of the major challenges facing the disabled. Though there is a special improvement in the area of inclusiveness, especially in politics, education and other economic activities, people living with disabilities in Katsina State lament what they described as marginalization by the society and other stakeholders. They call on government and other corporate bodies to make special consideration for persons living with disabilities by removing the economic barriers for them in health, education and access to loan facilities to move them out of poverty. We have been neglected, stigmatized and abandoned. The society is looking down at us. We need to be supported. As you can see, we are waiting for food to be brought by a philanthropist. It is a daily hustle to put body and soul together. As you see me so, you can glaringly understand that I am weak and tired. I need rest, but that is impossible, as I have to look forward to it. If I get this lunch, I'm not sure where to get my dinner. That is me as you see me so here. Similarly, the people living with disabilities described their living condition in the face of insecurity, post-COVID-19 and climate change as pathetic. Alhaji Dahiru Gambo is the chairman, while Tukuru Lerwanu is the secretary of the Association for People Living with Disabilities in Katsina State.
And our people will not left behind in suffering because they are part of the community that have been affected by these activities of banditries and others. So whenever you can imagine, as a person with visual impairment, as a person with hearing impairment, as a person with physical disability, an amputee or poliomyelitis, whenever there is an arrest, civil arrest in the society, people are looking away.
It's our day, and it is a day of people living with disability to call people for stopping for discriminating us and showing us that we are not people like everybody.
In recognition of their vulnerability, the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Aminu Bello Masari on people living with disabilities charged parents and the society to take full responsibility of people with special needs, as government alone cannot shoulder the burden.
The major challenges we are facing is discrimination. Discrimination and stigmatization. It is the ones that cause problem or challenges to our people, as more especially in regard to the family issues and the society, and also even market. Whenever you are disabled or physically challenged in your family, you can face many challenges in your family. Although your parents can send your brothers into school, maybe the school that is have qualitative education, but being you as a disabled, so they can even abandon you in the house or to leave you in the house. Being you as a disabled, they cannot help you to go to school.
However, calls for more collaboration between all the stakeholders in taming the challenges being experienced by the people with special needs to move the society forward. The theme for this year's celebration is leadership and participation of persons with disabilities towards an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. From Katsina, Abdullahi Ismail reporting for Trust Television News.
Now, Elder Statesman Sarkim Kanu and First Commissioner of Education in the state, Mukhtar Adnan, has passed on at the age of 95. One of his son, Mahmoud Mukhtar, confirmed to Trust TV that the late district head of Dambata died in the early hours of Friday. According to history, the deposed Emir of Kanu, Alhaji Muhammadu Sanusi the first, appointed Mukhtar Adnan as Sarakin Bey in 1954 to succeed his father. Late Adnan attended Dambata Elementary School, Kanu Middle School and Zaria Clerical School, and later started working with the Kanu Native Authority, where he served in various capacities before his elevation to the position of Sarakin Bey. 95 years old late Adnan from the Bazawa clan is the longest serving member of the Kanu Emirate Council since the establishment of the emirate in the 19th century, where he served for 63 years as district head, councillor and kingmaker. He served under Emir Sanusi I, who reigned from 1954 to 1962, late Emir Ado Bayero 1963 to 2014, and then Muhammadu Sanusi II. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, traders return to familiar terrain. Join us again for more details.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Thanks for staying with. Now let's take a look at some of the main stories again. In Nigeria, discrimination against persons with disability attracts 1 million naira fine for a group. For individuals, it attracts 1 million naira fine or 6 months jail term. Plus, Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Environment, Mrs. Sharon Ikezo, says the federal government is committed to implement climate change actions, combat the issues of climate change. Now moving on, Nigeria Center for Disease Control has reported 47 infections in 7 states and the Federal Capital Territory. According to the agency's update for Thursday, the 45 persons recovered from the infection increased the total discharged figure to 207,357. The center said with no fatality recorded on Thursday, Nigeria now has 214,317 confirmed cases with 2,978 fatalities. Meanwhile, nearly a dozen cases of the Omicron COVID-19 variant have now been detected in the U.S., with many of them confirmed in New York. Now, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has cautioned all Nigerians against devastating effects of misinformation on nation building. Gbajabiamila gave the advice on Thursday at a 2-day national conference on information organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values in Abuja. The report.
Gbajabiamila charged leaders and followers in the country to combat fake news, saying it is central to the unity of the country. He said that technology tools have made information gathering and dissemination cheaper. According to him, citizens all over have become broadcasters and publishers capable of influencing the opinions of many from the quiet of their enclaves.
In Nigeria, with our diverse cultures and religions still working towards achieving a more perfect union, hate speech and other forms of misinformation and disinformation can quickly have a devastating real-world effect Therefore, countering misinformation by whatever proper and legal means are available to us is not a theoretical question, but a responsibility that goes to the heart of our ability to continue to exist as one nation in peace, unity, and prosperity. Let us be aware that in trying to prevent the worst consequences of misinformation and hate speech, there is a danger of going too far in ways that smother the marketplace of ideas and deprive citizens of their free speech rights. That would be most unfortunate. And as leaders and government policymakers, we must avoid that outcome by all means.
Now, after nearly 2 years of absence following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Kanu State International Trade Fair has returned, though the usual large turnout of traders and exhibitors is not visible this time. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that the fair is significant to the state business community, but the low turnout of people as against previous fairs raises concern.
The 2021 Kanu International Trade Fair is organized to consolidate the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic to opportunities for growth and development of micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria.
Connecting business to business. That's the main essence of trade fair. It's not the situation whereby you come and sell your products, but you come and showcase your new products or to promote what you have. That's the main essence of the trade fair. And you can see we have a lot of participants from various countries. You can see some of the international flags, and even during the opening ceremony we host some ambassadors that comes from some countries.
However, occasioned by the COVID-19 effect on global economy, the Kanu's trade fair appeared low-key. Although there are present participants from various countries of the world, but they say the showcase is not like before due to the rising cost of goods and services and low turnout of people into this year's trade fair.
Still, it's normal, people is coming the normal, but I say not too much people, but I think this is normal in Kanu Trade Fair. The first 5-6 days, not too much people come. But inshallah, there will be movement the week up, the trade fair. I come here before 17 years. Every year I come Kanu Trade Fair from Egypt to here.
Meanwhile, micro, small and medium business operators are still trying to set up tents nearly 5 days since the trade fair was declared open.
Actually, last year I never come. 2 years ago I come. The trade fair is very successful, it's very good. So last year I never come because of the corona. But this year I come, but now the business start small. So people is going to complaining, no money because of the COVID. Dollar is too much high. So because of this small effect, but not big issue, but a small effect for this thing, because the thing is very expensive now for whole world.
The 2021 Kanu International Trade Fair is expected to provide opportunities for small-scale businesses to recover after the threats posed by the COVID-19 global pandemic on the state's economy. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kanu.
With that, we wrap up Trust News Update. Thank you for watching. My name is Ayuba Ilya. Bye for now.